Welcome to Cash in the Cyber Sheets. I'm your host, James Bowers, and together we'll work with business leaders and industry experts to dive into the misunderstood business of cybersecurity and compliance to learn how to start making money from being secure and compliant. Welcome to Cash in the Cyber Sheets. Hey everybody, welcome back to Cash in the Cyber Sheets. I'm your host, James Bowers, Chief Security and Compliance Architect here at Input Output. Very happy to have you back here with us today. And today, I would like to actually dive into where we've gotten to with the development, more so the improvement of our AI policy. We've had stuff in place before, but we've been, over the past few months, meeting with multiple companies, multiple subject matter experts, even somebody from the FBI, somebody that advises the FBI, not from the FBI, they advise the FBI, and taking information from even ISO 42001 and even from our own penetration testing experience, a lot of things that we've updated in our AI policy, and it is not fully completed yet. We will have that out actually soon. But I wanted to talk about the big points because they're pretty big things of consideration. Some are already in some of the other controls, but some others really make you think and can get you going down the rabbit hole with your own AI implementation. So I want to dive into those today. That's exactly what we're going to do right now, right after you click on that like, click on that subscribe, wherever you're listening or watching us at, whether it's YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever it's at. Show us some love and go ahead and leave us some comments. Let us know some things that you're having trouble with in your security and compliance management, things you would like help with, and definitely the things that you've done that have worked out really well. Love to celebrate the success. So let's get into our AI updates. Now, for what we've done, what we're doing is there are, about 8 core controls, 8 new risk/controls that we're really putting around the whole AI policy development, the consideration of how everything's put together, because based on how AI is being integrated into your environment, there's some things that a lot of people are overlooking, and you really need to make sure that you're not, because they can have big impacts. So first one here, not too big, but it's just the core control. We're putting it in our information security operations management domain, but just AI usage and risk management, just that overall arching, you got to have the policy, and that ties in with the sub-control that we're putting, acceptable AI use policy. So I think this is the extent that a lot of companies have right here. They have a policy that talks about AI, that there's ways you can use it, ways you can't use it. Maybe you specify you can't use anything that hasn't been approved by the company. Maybe you discuss what type of information you can and can't share. All those things should be in there. But these other controls, what they're going to do is they're actually really going to flesh that out. And it's going to move, I think, a lot of the conversation of the AI policy from more of a platitude to a very specific, here's what you need to do, here's how you need to do it. So I think the first one, from an actual real change in apps, an actual control of substance, is the second sub-control that we're looking at is the restriction of personal non-corporate AI accounts. I think this needs to be explicitly stated. I think you need to have training around this. It needs to be in policy. There needs to be training, but you cannot use any AI that is not provided by the company, provided by your own organization. The reason why is if you're using any personal AI account, any of them, this isn't picking on just one, but any of them, that data is retained there and it stays with that user. So if they leave the company, any conversation they've had, anything that they've done with that AI stays within their platform. It's not owned, it's not managed, it's not controlled by the company. So that's definitely something that you want to squash. You want to be able to speak to that directly. No AI that's not issued by the company. The our third sub control, the one that's of serious substance that's just difficult getting out, is protection against prompt injection and AI exploitation. Here's something really crazy about AI. With every system that it's connected to, it's essentially making that system to where anybody that just knows how to talk to AI, any social engineer, now can essentially breach your network. You don't need to have all the technical skills. And there are plenty of things out there on the internet about this that talk about it. We've even been doing this in our own penetration testing exercises where we've had AI provide us passwords for systems. We've had it provide us data that it shouldn't provide us. And it's a very real and very serious issue. This is actually one that's overlooked by quite a few, but this is something that you want to consider what type of information is within the grasp of the AI and what do we need to do to effectively protect that, whether that's firewalls, whether that's removing some of the data, a lot of different things you can do, but you want to make sure that's specifically thought of and identified. Next one I want to specifically call out is the AI data retention and deletion. Um, where is the data retained? How long is it retained? Also, you want to make sure that even if your data centers, say, are in the US or the EU, depending on where you're at, where they need to be, is that the same thing with your AI systems? So you can quickly start piercing the veil of other jurisdictions, getting yourself into some pretty serious compliance and contractual um, issues because of where the AI is processing and storing the data, which may not be in the areas that you are required by regulations in your different contracts to process and store the information. So you want to make sure that when you're integrating AI and that when you're integrating with a SaaS platform, whatever AI they're using, you want to know what the retention policies are, how it's retained, where it's retained, and also how you can delete the data when it's time to actually scrub the data out. The next one to go through, and this is something that practically no one has thought of, but everything in your AI chats, everything that's there, everything that's stored, that is all available through legal discovery and e-discovery process. So just like any other information in your company that can be subpoenaed, that can be brought into court, so can all of your conversations with AI. So there are definitely a lot of companies out there that tell their employees, don't put anything in chat, don't put anything in Slack, in Teams that you wouldn't want a customer to read in court. Don't say what you really think about that customer there. Do that over the water cooler when nobody's recording. It's the same thing with AI. Any of those conversations are not privileged. So anything that you're talking about could be pulled into court. And depending on the type of conversations, type of questions you're asking, that could easily create a situation to where it paints you in not the best light and could definitely damage your case depending on what's exactly being brought against you. Next big thing to talk about here is the prohibition of unauthorized AI model training. This is typically pretty typical, redundantly redundant. This is in a lot of policies. A lot of companies are already addressing this, but you want to make sure to specifically address it that any of your corporate data, definitely any of your client data, isn't being used to train the large language models, isn't being used to train AI. So you want to make sure that that is available with whatever platform that you're using, and that it's actually configured so that you're not inadvertently training the AI with your data. The final control or sub-control that we have here is role-based access and scope limitation for AI systems. Now, this kind of works hand in hand with that exploitation, but essentially what's happening here is a lot of systems have role-based access. We segregate who can access what, how they can access it, what they can do with it. But then we're bringing in an AI system that has full administrative God-level access to the entire environment and giving this to everybody, which means that if it's exploited, if it doesn't provide the correct outputs, it could essentially give somebody with a lower permission access to data that they really shouldn't have access to. And that can be because it's being exploited. That could be because it's just a big oops. So you want to be very, very careful with the systems that you're integrating the AI with, because it could inadvertently start really breaking down the walls of your entire role-based access, all your segregated access. It can completely destroy all of that. One thing that we are really looking at with a lot of our companies here, and I assume that this will continue to change, but is looking at it as if you are providing access to a system, a database, if you're providing that to AI, then everybody with access to that AI should have the same level of access to that database. That is not necessarily always the case. That's definitely a blue sky kind of design philosophy. But those are areas where if it's not able to be set up that way, that you really want to make sure that you're protecting and evaluating the prompts that are being provided, and that you're scrubbing all of the outputs, the responses that that AI is giving, to make sure that it's not being manipulated and to make sure it's not giving the wrong information. Those are all of the controls that we are looking at. We're writing the policy now, we're tweaking, we're still doing a lot of things, but I understand we absolutely screamed through all of that. And I think what we might do here is create kind of a little mini series around each of these, because there is a tremendous amount to unpack with each of these. We are also, like I said, in the process of finalizing that much more robust AI policy. And if you would like help with yours, if you would like to grab ours and help integrate that, once that's ready, we will have the links, and you are more than welcome to reach out to us if you're having trouble with your own AI policy, or just want to discuss the different issues that you're having with AI. So thank you very much for listening today, and until next time. Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget, click that subscribe button, leave us a review, and share it with your network. Remember, security and compliance aren't just about avoiding risk. They're about unlocking your business's full potential. So stay secure, stay compliant, and we'll catch you next week on Cash in the Cyber Sheets. Goodbye for now.
Life goes up and it goes down.